Let's check in with Joseph Lindsley in Ukraine.
Maybe these heinous attacks on the centers of two Russian-speaking cities, Kyiv and Odesa, is some kind of in his Putin's weird calculus, trying to scare people.
Little Joe Lindsley.
Joe Lindsley is quickly becoming an American treasure in broadcasting.
Welcome to Ukraine Bank.
Joe, when I read your message last night, I was horrified. Joseph wrote, tonight, in addition to hitting Kharkiv's center city, Russia sent missiles and drones to Ukraine's seaside metropolis of Odesa. In the process, joggers, walkers, and dogs were killed and injured. What exactly is Russia hoping to achieve by this carnage? If they're trying to make the people run away, it's not working. Wow. Joseph, are you okay today?
Yeah, Bob, good afternoon from Lviv. I traveled this morning by train from Kyiv, the capital, here to Lviv. And, you keep thinking that, there's so many, there have been so many atrocities, but even it can still get worse, as it did in Odesa yesterday. Those scenes are very haunting for people here. And not just Odesa, but right about the same time, early in the evening, beautiful sunny summer evening, the Russians sent glide bombs to the center of Kharkiv city. And, because I spent so much time in Kharkiv, I pay attention to the alerts there. And there was a very strange, chilling warning to people to get out of the center from some parks in the center. That's very unusual. And indeed, a few minutes later, the Russians attacked the center of the city of Kharkiv. And then probably within the same hour, they hit Odesa. And it was a seaside promenade. People, you really can't go in the Black Sea because of the sea mines. It's too dangerous. But people still want to be near the sea, especially in Odesa. And so on a beautiful summer evening, that promenade was crowded. People walking their dogs, taking a walk, going for a run, trying to, forget about the war for just a few moments. And the Russians sent the Iskander missile with cluster munitions. And if you look at the videos of this, you can see it's like pop, pop, pop. The cluster munitions, it's not just one strike. It's multiple strikes. To try to inflict maximum damage. They destroyed this very beautiful building in Odesa. They call it sort of the Harry Potter Castle of Odesa, built a couple hundred years ago. It was part of the Odesa Law Academy, and that seems to be pretty much entirely destroyed. And Odesa is a Russian-speaking city, and it was long thought. Putin didn't really touch it the first year and a half of the full-scale Russian invasion. Russians traditionally loved going to Odesa because it's a beautiful place. Warmer and more beautiful than Russian sea resorts. And so they didn't really touch it. But now that's clearly changing. And I sent when the Ukrainians, were saying, we need to share images of this. Just to keep reminding people of what Russia is doing. And a lot of people, there was an image that I shared of a dog who, they blurred out the dog's face because the damage was so bad. The dog was killed. And the girl who owned the dog, she's leaning over the dog. You can just imagine the emotions. I'm sure she was wounded too, and hoping that would get Americans to really keep caring and paying attention. And this is why the timing of the weapons incoming to Ukraine. I know that process has begun. Could not be better. I think if it had been any later, maybe even a week later, we could be in a very very bad situation.
Interesting to note that President Putin is about to institute a rare tax increase on corporations and high earners in Russia that kind of reflects the costs of this war in Ukraine. So he's going to be under more pressure after these weapons get to Ukraine, don't you think?
I think so. But he's converting his economy because he can do it just with his command into a total war economy, something that's harder to do in Ukraine. On the upside for Ukraine, the motivation comes from the people. They don't have to be ordered, to do things to help. And so this really is a battle between those two principles, top-down authority and the authority and the will of the people. But maybe these heinous attacks on the centers of two Russian-speaking cities, Kharkiv and Odesa, is some kind of in his Putin's weird calculus, his response to the long range weapons coming in from the U.S. Trying to scare people. I mean, I've heard this story several times. When I was speaking with a family, the wife is pregnant. She's in one of these cities, and she due to give birth very soon, and said she's not going to leave. She did say maybe her motherly instinct will take over when the baby's born, but she says as of now she's not going to leave. And in one of these recent attacks a few days ago, she was just a few blocks from the missile, and it scared her, I think, from what I heard, in a way that she'd never been afraid. But here's a pregnant mother about to give birth, refusing to leave. There's a special species of courage here. I mean, it's almost a different level of humanity that I witnessed around me. And as I took the train today, I always feel that on the train, it feels like you're in some kind of fairy tale. But the train is the very modern train cars. They go about 120 miles an hour. It's comfortable. It's clean. They have great food. They have these famous hot dogs that they serve in these rolls that are like wraps, so it's not messy. Everything's very thoughtful, and it's like a library atmosphere. Everyone is whispering, speaking quietly, and you really see people who need a rest, but who are calm and who are focused. And as we're going through this countryside, and it's absolutely lush green and yellow, I'm not even sure what I saw that was growing, and you see people plowing their fields with tractors, but also with horses. And so, but it's not in a third world way. It's in a very sort of self-sufficient, it's not third world because you see, these wonderful trains. You look at the villages, the houses are impeccably maintained, with abundant gardens, and people keeping their old traditions and their old ways, but also everyone with iPhones. And that really, the Ukrainian society is this in-between place. And you see, as I look at the farmers and the villagers, you think of all the people, the way the war affects everyone. And the Ukrainian authorities the conscription is increasing. This is deeply apparent in the conversations I have with every single person here. People are, because they don't have a choice right now, and so the people are being taken to the military with really no notice, picked up from their places of work or on the streets, because that's how serious it is. And so this underscores just how important this influx of weapons can be. And this is a great hope that people are clinging on to, that this can help turn things around. And, there's a sense of battening the hatches, because Russia, of course, is going to try to do some nasty things in the face of these new weapons.
Well, as you wrote in your post last night, if the Russians are trying to make the people run away, it's not working. Hope you and the folks there in Ukraine keep your spirits up, Joseph. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Till tomorrow. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you for introducing Ukraine on your social media pages. That's very important, that much more people can get more information about the situation here and how everybody can help Ukraine to stay stronger and to save all the world.
Що сказав?
Well, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?
Come on now. Oh, which side are you on?
На чиїй ти стороні?
Ебать.